Welcome back, friends. How are you? It's lovely being you. You know, my mother figure, she was my reality check. Every story or every time she even spoke to my brothers, I was in earshot. Because the advice she gave to them was priceless, when I tell you. Now, I was younger than them, so some things that she talked to them about, I guess it wasn't really for me, but it wasn't for me at that point in time. It was for me later. You see, when you plant the seed, you're preparing yourself for what might happen later on, okay? So you say, reality check. Have you met him? Okay. Have you met your reality check? Sometimes a person can be your reality check. Your mother could have told you a story and you didn't listen to it, or her. In my brother's cases, it was probably a she. My mother told them or prepared them for it in the story or told them about it. And sometimes they didn't take it in, or they may have gotten it later on. Whatever happened, it was meant to land on ears, because you listened closer when it was someone else. Like my oldest brother, I remember she said, you're going to need an older woman, because an older woman is going to show you different things that perhaps you didn't pick up on early on. Meaning, okay, his father showed a lot of selfishness. And when his father showed a lot of selfishness, it's like when you're dating a person. Let's say you're dating a person and you don't notice the selfishness, but the child comes out exactly like the person. I know it's not funny, but it's funny because it's your reality check, because you're like, oh shoot, I can't believe this. Because you didn't learn the lesson with the guy, and you have children. Like my mother used to love to tell one of my brothers, she'd say, you know what? Have all the fun you want, but don't have any children. And it's almost as though she spoke it into existence, because they ended up having a child. And when they had this child, he took out the both parts, both sides. So you could see both sides, and sometimes it was conflicting, because the mother got upset because she would think to herself, this guy is just like his father. And the father's looking at him and at the boy child, and saying, boy, he's just like his mother. That's a reality check. And all of us are going to go through reality checks. Be it your brother, be it your sister, be it your friend, we're all going to learn on one accord, okay? Different times and spaces, but it's still going to happen. And it's important when you're learning these lessons that even if you're not going to take notes in writing, you take notes in your brain. You take it, because that reality check is going to take you a distance. Again, I remember my mother told me once I was dating this guy, and you couldn't have told me that this was not going to be my husband, okay? You couldn't have told me this. So I had been going out to these restaurants, and we would go, our favorite restaurant was Pizzeria Uno. I'll never forget it. And I mean, we used to love going to Pizzeria Uno. But when God is trying to teach you a lesson, he's teaching you and that person, not just you. So there would be random men, grown men, coming to the table and saying, here's my business card. When you finish with this young guy, I'm prepared for a real woman. I mean, stuff like that. And the guy, he didn't know how to handle it. We were young, we were in college. I didn't know how to handle it. But it was happening too often for it not to be noticed. God teaches us many lessons. And while teaching us these lessons, we are to take it in. And if we don't listen, the message gets louder, like the sound out here. You hear the engine roaring. The truck is turning off. So he's trying to give it more gas so that it will not turn off, so that when that light changes, he can take off, okay? You meet a person's energy before you meet the person. If that makes sense to you. You meet the person's energy first. Let's say I have a cousin who's always angry, okay? You meet her energy before you meet her. And when you feel that energy, you already know she's coming. The thing is you want to be around people who, if their energy is going to meet you first, that is good energy. high vibrational energy. If you're around people who are constantly saying to you, oh, that can't happen. Or like, let's say you share a dream with a person and they say, oh, that's not gonna happen. Or they say it behind your back and it comes back to you. That tells you certain things you cannot share with certain people because their mind frame is not there. Now, certain things can be drop seedlings, but you don't tell your manifestations to those people because they put poison on it. It's like I was telling you the other day, my gal pals, I'm hanging out with one of my gal pals, and I told her, I said, when the rest of them come, I'm out. And she's like, what do you mean? I said, I'm leaving because I already know. When you're around too many women, sometimes that energy can work against you. And I mean, we're working towards the goal of it being good energy, but certain individuals are not there yet. And sometimes they can ruin your dream, by you telling them about it. They can work against it. And if you just bump into me and we're supposed to be meeting up, and the first thing you have out of your mouth is something to say that's negative about me, come on, let's give each other compliments, let's support each other, let's love each other, And this is my gal pal, but she is still working towards her lessons. I'm working towards mine as well, but that lesson with that person might take some time, and they're going through that together. I'm not a part of that, because I know that when people do things to me or around me too many times, it's time. The writing is on the wall, but that's her lesson to engage in. I'm finished with that. We're all going to have different lessons that we engage in with different people. And while we're learning, while we're growing, you know what's good for you and you know what's not for you, okay? So I know that that's not for me, but she's so beautiful, and I know that that person's important to her. I didn't meet that friend like that. They were friends beforehand. I came into the circle and I noticed certain things and I backed up. You have to know what's right for you. What's right for another person might not be right for you. So when I say reality check, your reality check is going to be different from someone else's. But you're going to meet it all with love, okay? Loving yourself first. Meaning you're not going to put yourself in a situation that you're going to be compromised in. As best you can, make the best choices that work best for you. And after that, hey, we're growing, okay? So that's my message today. Lovely being you. Have an awesome day.